As we age, many of us tend to accept the inevitable slow decline in strength, flexibility, and mental sharpness. It's almost as if there's a universal law that dictates the gradual reduction of vitality after a certain age. But what if that's not the full story? What if aging isn't just about inevitable decline, but about the small, consistent things we do every day that we often overlook? The truth is, some people in their 70s and beyond defy what we expect, living not just longer, but better. They possess the energy to move with ease, stay mentally sharp, and retain abilities that most of us expect to lose with age. They don't just survive, they thrive. These individuals are rare gems, and chances are, if you're still able to do certain things by the time you reach your mid-70s, you're on track for a life that could reach 100 or beyond. In this story, we'll follow the lives of people who have continued to defy age, focusing on 8 key abilities that many people lose as they grow older. Each one is a powerful indicator of health and longevity, and we'll dive into the stories of those who made small adjustments to keep their bodies and minds functioning at their best. By the end of this, you'll see how the simplest tasks can offer the clearest signs of a long, healthy life. Let's start with the first sign that you're aging well. As we explored in the introduction, longevity isn't just about luck or genetics. It's about the small things we do every day that can make a big difference. Harold Stevens, at 77, was living proof of this. He had always been an active man, enjoying daily walks, gardening, and staying physically engaged with life. But one afternoon, as he relaxed in his recliner, he noticed something unusual. Standing up from the chair wasn't as easy as it used to be. At first, Harold thought it was just a normal part of getting older. Everyone experiences small challenges as they age, right? But when he found himself needing to push off the armrests with his hands to stand up, he realized something was wrong. That small shift in his ability was a wake-up call. During his annual checkup, Harold learned that the ability to rise from a chair without using your hands is more than just a minor skill. It's a powerful indicator of overall health. His doctor explained that it was a direct reflection of muscle strength, balance, and core stability, key components of maintaining independence as we age. The conversation made Harold realize something important, that small change in his ability to stand up was linked to his physical health, and addressing it could help him maintain his mobility for years to come. Determined to regain his strength, Harold incorporated simple leg exercises into his daily routine. Squats, seated leg lifts, and standing heel raises became a regular part of his day. Within a few months, Harold was able to rise from his chair effortlessly once again. More importantly, he felt stronger and more confident in his movements, knowing that these small changes had made a significant impact on his long-term health. This simple act of standing up without using his hands wasn't just about a chair. It was a reminder that small, consistent efforts can lead to big improvements in how we age. If Harold's story showed us how small movements can impact strength, then William Thompson's story is about how endurance plays a crucial role in longevity. At 74, William had always been an active man, taking regular walks through his neighborhood and participating in weekend hikes. But one morning, during his usual walk, something caught his attention. He was slower than usual. His legs felt heavy, and he noticed that, despite his best efforts, he was winded after walking only a short distance. It wasn't a drastic change, but it was noticeable. William had prided himself on being able to walk briskly without breaking a sweat, and now he was struggling to keep up with his usual pace. At first, he brushed it off as just being a bit more cautious, but over the following weeks, it became clear that something had shifted. One day, after climbing a flight of stairs, he felt especially out of breath, and realized that his cardiovascular endurance wasn't what it used to be. That's when he decided to take action. William recalled reading studies about the link between walking speed and longevity, research that showed that people who maintain a brisk pace as they age tend to live longer, healthier lives. Walking wasn't just about getting from point A to point B, it was a reflection of overall heart health, lung function, muscle endurance, and vitality. To improve his endurance, William focused on walking regularly, making an effort to increase his pace gradually. He also added light cardio exercises to his routine, such as cycling and swimming, to boost his cardiovascular health. Slowly, he began to notice changes. His walks became faster and more comfortable, and he didn't feel as winded after climbing stairs. Over time, his endurance returned, and so did his confidence. He was reminded that his cardiovascular health wasn't something to take for granted. It needed regular attention, just like any other muscle in his body. For William, the ability to walk briskly without getting out of breath wasn't just about physical endurance. It was about maintaining the energy to enjoy life fully. William's journey with endurance isn't the only important piece of the puzzle. In fact, as we age, our ability to balance becomes a key indicator of how well our bodies are maintaining their coordination and physical health. Frank Harris, 76, had always prided himself on being agile and steady on his feet. He could jog, walk, and even perform some light stretches with ease. But one day, while standing on one foot to put on his socks, he noticed something unusual. His balance wasn't what it used to be. At first, it was just a fleeting moment, but the more Frank thought about it, the more he realized that his balance had been slowly slipping. He didn't think much of it at first, but one day he tried standing on one foot intentionally and found himself struggling to keep his balance for more than a few seconds. He started to wobble and had to put his foot down quickly. It was an alarming sign that something was changing in his body, and it left him feeling uneasy. Frank wasn't alone in this experience. Studies have shown that balance is one of the first things to decline as we age, and it's closely tied to longevity. Maintaining balance is a sign that your nervous system, muscles, and reflexes are still working together in harmony. As we get older, even small changes in balance can signal a need for action. Determined not to let his balance decline further, Frank began incorporating balance exercises into his daily routine. He started with simple movements, like standing heel raises, side leg lifts, and shifting his weight from one foot to the other. Slowly but surely, he regained his stability. Within a few weeks, Frank could stand on one foot for over 10 seconds without wobbling, and more importantly, he felt more confident in his movements. Frank's story is a powerful reminder that balance isn't just about staying steady on your feet. It's about maintaining your independence and mobility for years to come. With practice and consistency, he not only regained his balance, but also gained a renewed sense of confidence and control over his body. While balance is crucial, flexibility and mobility are just as important when it comes to aging well. Joseph Walker, 78, had always been the active type. He played tennis in his younger years, stayed fit, and kept moving. But one afternoon, his grandson asked him to join in a fun board game, sitting on the floor. Joseph had no problem with that part, but when the game was over and it was time to get back up, something felt different. He hesitated for a moment, unsure if he could rise from the floor without straining himself. Joseph realized he had grown more reluctant to bend down or kneel, worried he wouldn't be able to get back up without help. The idea of needing assistance just to get off the floor was a wake-up call. Joseph hadn't thought much about this kind of movement in years, but now it was evident that his flexibility and mobility were starting to fade. This moment prompted Joseph to take a hard look at his overall mobility. He remembered the importance of staying flexible and strong as we age, not just for the ability to perform certain tasks, but for maintaining independence in the long run. Many older adults begin to avoid getting on the floor, which can lead to the gradual loss of those muscles and movements. Joseph decided it was time to act. He started practicing slow, controlled movements. Squatting, kneeling, and using his legs to push himself up, rather than relying on furniture, became part of his daily routine. Over time, he regained his ability to get down to the floor and back up with ease. Not only did he feel physically stronger, but he also felt more confident. The freedom to move without hesitation was empowering. Joseph's experience reminded him that the ability to move freely, from getting off the floor to bending and stretching, is a major predictor of longevity. The more we rely on our bodies, the more we preserve our independence. He was proud to see his strength return and was ready to continue living life without fear of mobility loss. Joseph's regained mobility wasn't just about flexibility, it was about maintaining strength for everyday tasks. Richard Bennett, 75, experienced a similar realization, but his story revolved around a more common chore: carrying groceries. Richard had always prided himself on being independent, handling everything from home repairs to lifting heavy bags of groceries without a second thought. But one day, after a routine grocery run, he found himself struggling. As he lifted the bags onto the counter, he noticed something surprising. He had to pause and shift the weight to avoid straining himself. The bags didn't feel any heavier than usual, but his body wasn't responding the way it used to. Richard had always prided himself on being strong, but now he was feeling the effects of his aging muscles. It was a small moment, but Richard knew it was a sign of something more significant. Carrying groceries was a routine activity that he hadn't thought twice about until now. It was then that he recalled studies showing that grip strength and upper body endurance are critical predictors of longevity. Maintaining the ability to lift everyday items, like groceries, wasn't just about convenience. It reflected the health of his muscles, joints, and overall physical endurance. Determined to regain his strength, Richard began focusing on exercises that targeted his arms, shoulders, and grip. He incorporated light weights, resistance bands, and even exercises like push-ups against the kitchen counter. Over time, he noticed a remarkable difference. Carrying groceries felt easy again, and not only that, his energy levels improved, and tasks that once left him tired now felt manageable. Richard's experience showed him that staying strong wasn't about lifting heavy weights. It was about ensuring that everyday tasks didn't become burdens. By focusing on small, consistent strength exercises, Richard was able to maintain his independence and avoid unnecessary fatigue. His renewed strength allowed him to keep living on his own terms, without asking for help with things he once handled easily. Richard's story shows us that strength is about more than lifting heavy weights. It's about handling the demands of daily life. But for George Patterson, 73, it was the stairs that became the true test of his physical endurance. George had always taken the stairs without a second thought. He'd climbed several flights without feeling winded, and it was a routine he never questioned, until one day, when everything changed. It started with a simple visit to a friend's house. As George approached a small flight of stairs, he decided to take them rather than use the elevator, as he always had. But halfway up, he found himself out of breath. He paused, trying to catch his breath, and then made it to the top, feeling more winded than he had ever been in recent memory. That was the moment George realized something was off. At first, he didn't think much of it. Everyone has off days, right? But over time, he began to notice more and more that stairs were becoming harder for him. He started avoiding them, choosing elevators or escalators instead. He didn't realize how much his physical stamina had declined until that one moment when climbing stairs felt like an obstacle. This realization led George to take action. He learned that the ability to climb stairs without stopping is a powerful sign of cardiovascular health, muscle endurance, and overall strength. Stairs are more than just a physical challenge. They require a combination of lower body strength, heart function, and coordination. So, George decided to start taking the stairs again, gradually building up his strength. At first, he took it slow. He focused on building his endurance by starting with just a few steps at a time, making sure to maintain a steady pace. Over the next few weeks, George noticed a change. He could climb stairs without feeling winded, and his overall energy levels increased. He was reminded that maintaining cardiovascular health and leg strength isn't just about avoiding challenges. It's about embracing them. For George, the ability to climb a flight of stairs without stopping was a vital sign of his physical health. It showed that his heart, lungs, and muscles were still functioning well. And by making the effort to improve his endurance, George was not only reclaiming his physical strength, but also his confidence in tackling daily activities. While physical strength and endurance are crucial, mental sharpness plays an equally important role in longevity. For Paul Miller, 79, maintaining his cognitive health was just as important as keeping his body strong. Paul had always been known for his sharp mind. He could recall conversations from weeks ago, solve puzzles with ease, and keep up with the latest tech trends. But one day, he noticed that his memory wasn't as sharp as it used to be. It started with small lapses. He couldn't remember where he placed his keys or the name of a new acquaintance from a recent meeting. At first, he thought it was just a normal part of aging. Everyone forgets things from time to time, right? But over time, the small lapses started to become more frequent, and Paul began to worry. He had always prided himself on his mental acuity, and this gradual decline left him feeling uneasy. It was during a conversation with his daughter that Paul realized how important it was to keep his brain engaged. She reminded him of the many studies that showed a strong link between cognitive health and longevity. People who continue to challenge their brains, whether through reading, socializing, or learning new things, tend to maintain their memory and mental sharpness far longer than those who don't. Determined to take action, Paul began dedicating time each day to activities that would keep his mind sharp. He picked up his favorite crossword puzzles again, started reading more books, and even began taking online courses on topics that intrigued him. He also made an effort to stay socially engaged, meeting friends regularly, and having conversations about topics that challenged his thinking. Over time, Paul noticed a significant improvement in his memory. He could recall conversations from weeks ago with ease, solve puzzles without much effort, and felt mentally rejuvenated. He was reminded that keeping the brain active is just as important as staying physically fit. Mental sharpness isn't just about remembering facts. It's about staying engaged with life and continuing to learn and grow. For Paul, the ability to recall recent conversations and events clearly was more than just a sign of good memory. It was a sign that he was actively nurturing his brain health, which is essential for longevity. Paul's experience with mental sharpness underscores the importance of keeping our brains active. But there's another key factor in longevity that often gets overlooked: quality sleep. For Roger Lee, 74, it wasn't until he started struggling with his sleep that he realized how crucial it was to his overall health. For years, Roger had been able to sleep soundly through the night. He woke up feeling refreshed and ready to start his day with energy. But as he got older, he began to notice a change. He would wake up multiple times during the night, feeling restless, and in the morning, he didn't feel as refreshed as he once did. Instead of feeling ready to face the day, he felt sluggish and in need of a nap. At first, Roger thought it was just a normal part of aging. After all, many people struggle with sleep as they get older, right? However, as time passed, Roger realized this wasn't just a temporary phase, it was starting to affect his overall energy levels and his mood. He was finding it harder to concentrate during the day and felt mentally foggy. It was then that Roger remembered a conversation he had with his doctor about the role sleep plays in longevity. He had learned that good quality sleep isn't just about feeling rested. It's about allowing the body to repair itself, maintaining heart health, supporting brain function, and keeping the immune system strong. Roger knew it was time to make changes. He began implementing a few simple adjustments to improve his sleep. He created a more consistent bedtime routine, reducing screen time before bed and creating a relaxing atmosphere in his bedroom. He also focused on winding down each evening with a good book or light stretching, rather than trying to fall asleep immediately after a busy day. Within a few weeks, Roger noticed a remarkable improvement. He began waking up feeling more rested and alert. His energy levels during the day improved, and his mood lifted. Most importantly, he realized that quality sleep wasn't just a luxury. It was essential for maintaining his health and vitality. For Roger, waking up feeling rested was more than just a sign of a good night's sleep. It was an indicator that his body was functioning well and repairing itself overnight. A good night's sleep supports physical health, cognitive function, and overall energy levels, making it one of the most important habits for longevity. As we've seen through the stories of Harold, William, Frank, Joseph, Richard, George, Paul, and Roger, the path to longevity isn't about grand gestures or extreme changes. It's about the small, consistent actions we take every day. These seemingly simple tasks, getting up from a chair without using your hands, walking briskly without getting winded, balancing on one foot, bending down to the floor and getting back up, carrying groceries with ease, climbing stairs without stopping, maintaining mental sharpness, and waking up feeling rested, are all powerful indicators of a long, healthy life. Each of these signs reflects a body and mind that are functioning well, even as we age. These people aren't just surviving, they're thriving. And if you recognize these abilities in yourself, it's a strong sign that you're on track for a life filled with independence, energy, and vitality. But here's the key: it's never too late to start. Even if you notice areas where you could improve, small, consistent efforts can make a significant difference. Strength can be rebuilt, balance can be restored, and mental sharpness can be nurtured. By staying active, engaged, and committed to improving your health, you can continue to enjoy life to the fullest, regardless of your age. So, the next time you stand up from a chair, go for a walk, or climb a flight of stairs, take a moment to reflect on what your body and mind are telling you. If you're still able to do these things effortlessly, it's a sign that your body is aging well, and you're on track for a long, healthy life. Remember, longevity isn't just about living longer, it's about living better. So keep challenging yourself, stay active, and embrace the small habits that contribute to your health and well-being. Your future self will thank you.